The Price of Betrayal, Complete Story. Part 1, The Fall. The perfect life shattered. The champagne flutes clinked together in the golden afternoon light, and Elena Martinez couldn't stop smiling. Her art gallery, Luminous Dreams, was celebrating its 5th anniversary, and the room buzzed with collectors, artists, and admirers. At 28 years old, she had everything she'd worked for since graduating from art school. Success. Recognition. Love. Marcus Webb stood beside her, his arm wrapped possessively around her waist. His tailored suit fit perfectly, and his charming smile captivated everyone who spoke with him. In 3 months, she would become Mrs. Marcus Webb. The invitations were already printed, the venue booked, the dress hanging in her closet like a promise of forever. "You've done it again, darling," Marcus whispered in her ear. "This collection will sell out by midnight." Elena leaned into him, breathing in his expensive cologne. "We did it together. I couldn't have done any of this without your support." It was true. Marcus had been there from the beginning, helping her navigate the business side of the art world, introducing her to wealthy clients, advising her on investments. He'd encouraged her to expand, to take risks, to pour everything she had into making the gallery spectacular. Her younger sister, Claire, glided through the crowd in a stunning red dress. At 24, Claire had always been the beautiful one, the charming one, the one who could make anyone fall in love with her. But Elena had never been jealous. They were sisters, best friends, inseparable since childhood. "Elena, this is incredible." Claire air-kissed both her cheeks. "You're absolutely glowing. Marcus must be taking very good care of you." Something flickered in Claire's eyes when she looked at Marcus, something Elena couldn't quite identify. But it was gone in an instant, replaced by her sister's familiar warmth. "He is," Elena said, squeezing Marcus's hand. "I'm the luckiest woman alive." The evening sparkled with laughter and success. Elena sold 12 paintings, 3 sculptures, and received commissions for custom pieces worth nearly $200,000. It was her best night ever. As the last guests filtered out, she stood in the center of her gallery, surrounded by beauty she'd helped create, and felt completely content. Marcus checked his phone, frowning. "Darling, I need to run. Early meeting tomorrow. You understand?" "Of course." She kissed him goodnight, not noticing how quickly he pulled away, how eager he seemed to leave. The betrayal revealed. 2 weeks later, Elena stood outside Marcus's downtown apartment, holding a bag of his favorite Thai food. He'd been distant lately, always busy, always tired. She'd decided to surprise him with dinner, maybe stay the night, reconnect the way they used to. She used her key, the one he'd given her 6 months ago, with the promise that his home was her home. The apartment was dark except for a light coming from the bedroom. Soft music played. She smiled, thinking maybe he was waiting for her after all. "Marcus?" "It's me, I brought." The words died in her throat. The bedroom door stood half open. Through it, she saw Marcus in bed, but he wasn't alone. Tangled in the sheets with him, her head thrown back in pleasure, was Claire. Her sister. Her baby sister. The bag of food slipped from Elena's hands, containers exploding across the hardwood floor. The sound made both of them freeze. Claire's eyes met Elena's, and instead of shame, Elena saw something cold and calculated in her sister's gaze. Marcus scrambled out of bed, pulling on pants, his face pale. "Elena, wait, I can explain." "How long?" Elena's voice came out broken, barely a whisper. Claire wrapped herself in the sheet, smiling. Actually smiling. "Does it matter?" "How long?" "A year," Marcus said quietly. "It just happened, Elena. We didn't mean for it to go this far, but Claire and we're in love." A year. While she'd been planning their wedding, while she'd been building her dreams, while she'd trusted them both completely. A year of lies, of stolen moments, of betrayal so deep it felt like drowning. "Get out," Claire said, and the command in her voice shocked Elena. This is awkward for everyone. Just go. This is Marcus's apartment. Actually, Marcus interrupted, his expression shifting to something harder. Claire's right. You should leave. We need to talk, but not tonight. Elena backed away, her legs trembling. She made it to her car before the tears came, violent sobs that shook her entire body. She drove home on autopilot, barely seeing the road through her blurred vision. The devastating loss. The next morning, Elena woke up hoping it was a nightmare. Her phone showed 17 missed calls from Marcus, 8 from Claire. She deleted them all without listening. She had to get to the gallery. Work was her sanctuary, her safe place. Art didn't betray. Beauty didn't lie. But when she arrived at Luminous Dreams, police cars blocked the entrance. Her heart hammered as she pushed through the small crowd gathered outside. I'm the owner, she told the officer at the door. What's happening? Ma'am, you need to speak with Detective Morrison. Inside, her beautiful gallery looked violated. Display cases stood empty. Paintings had been removed from walls. A detective approached her, his expression sympathetic. Miss Martinez? I'm Detective Morrison. I'm afraid we have a situation. Someone reported stolen artwork being displayed here. We have warrants for 23 pieces currently in your gallery. That's impossible. I authenticate everything. I have certificates, provenance documents. The documents are fraudulent, ma'am. These pieces were stolen from private collections across 3 states. We need to confiscate them as evidence. Elena's world tilted. No, there must be a mistake. Marcus handles all the authentication. He would never. Understanding crashed over her like a wave. Marcus. Marcus had been handling the paperwork, the certificates, the relationships with sellers. Marcus, who was sleeping with her sister. Marcus, who had encouraged her to invest everything she had into expanding the gallery. We'll need you to come to the station for questioning, Detective Morrison continued. And you should contact a lawyer. Rock bottom. The next 3 months were a nightmare. Every penny Elena had went to lawyers trying to prove she hadn't known about the stolen art. Her gallery was shut down, her reputation destroyed. Collectors demanded refunds she couldn't provide. The bank foreclosed on her building. Marcus disappeared. Claire stopped answering her calls. Their parents, retired in Florida, believed Claire's story that Elena had been the one having an affair with Marcus, that Elena had tried to frame them both out of jealousy. Elena lost everything. Her gallery. Her savings. Her family. Her reputation. She moved into a tiny studio apartment in the worst part of town, working double shifts at a diner just to afford rent. Some nights, she stood on her balcony and looked down at the street 5 stories below, wondering if the pain would ever stop. Wondering if she had the strength to keep going. The mysterious encounter. It was raining the night her life changed again. Elena's shift at the diner had run late, and she walked home through empty streets, too broke to afford the bus fare. She was soaked, exhausted, and hollow inside. A man stepped out of the shadows ahead of her. She tensed, reaching for the pepper spray in her pocket. But he didn't move closer. He stood under a streetlight, tall and imposing in an expensive black coat, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to see right through her. Elena Martinez, he said, his voice deep and cultured. Not a question. A statement. Do I know you? No. But I know you. I know what happened to your gallery. I know about Marcus Webb and your sister. I know you've lost everything. Fear prickled down her spine. Are you a reporter? Because I have nothing to say. I'm not a reporter. My name is Adrian Stone. He pulled out a business card, holding it between 2 fingers. I'm someone who can help you get everything back. And more. Elena stared at the card, expensive cardstock with simple elegant lettering. Adrian Stone, CEO, Stone Enterprises. I don't need charity. Good. Because I'm not offering charity. I'm offering revenge. The word hung in the wet air between them, dangerous and tempting. Why would you help me? Adrian's smile was cold. Because Marcus Webb destroyed something of mine once. And I believe in the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You want your life back. I want Marcus destroyed. We can help each other. Elena should have walked away. Should have run from this mysterious stranger with his dangerous promises. But she was so tired of being broken, so tired of being the victim. What exactly are you proposing? An unexpected proposal. Adrian gestured to a black car parked at the curb, sleek and expensive. Let's talk somewhere dry. I promise you're safe. If you're uncomfortable at any point, I'll have my driver take you home. Everything in Elena's rational mind screamed danger. But that mind had trusted Marcus, had trusted Claire, and look where that had gotten her. Maybe it was time to stop being careful. Maybe it was time to take a risk. She got in the car. The interior was warm, leather seats and soft lighting. Adrian sat across from her, maintaining a respectful distance. Up close, she could see he was probably in his mid-30s, with sharp features and an intensity that was almost overwhelming. Tell me what you know about Marcus Webb, Adrian said. I thought you already knew everything. I know the facts. I want to know what you know. What he took from you. How he made you feel. The question cracked something open inside Elena. She found herself talking, telling this stranger everything. The betrayal. The theft. The way Marcus had systematically destroyed her life while pretending to love her. The way her own sister had smiled while twisting the knife. Adrian listened without interrupting, his dark eyes never leaving her face. When she finished, her cheeks were wet with tears she hadn't realized she was crying. Marcus Webb is a con artist, Adrian said quietly. He's done this before. To other women, other businesses. He finds successful people, gains their trust, and bleeds them dry. Then he moves on. And you know this how? Because 5 years ago, he did it to someone I loved. My sister, Isabel. She owned a small tech startup. Marcus seduced her, convinced her to make him a partner, then systematically embezzled everything. By the time she realized what was happening, he'd disappeared with $3 million and destroyed her credit. She couldn't recover from the shame, the financial ruin. Adrian's jaw tightened. She killed herself 2 years ago. Elena's hand flew to her mouth. I'm so sorry. I've spent 3 years tracking Marcus, learning his patterns, waiting for the right moment. And then I heard about you. About what he did. I realized he's getting bolder, more confident. He thinks he's untouchable. Adrian leaned forward. Help me bring him down, Elena. Help me make him pay for what he's done to us both. How? I have nothing. No money, no reputation, no power. But you have something Marcus never expected. You have me. Adrian pulled out a folder, handing it to her. I'm offering you a job. Executive consultant for Stone Enterprises. Salary of $300,000 a year, plus bonuses. Full benefits. Apartment in Manhattan. Elena's hand shook as she opened the folder. The contract looked real, legitimate. Why would you do this? Because I need someone on the inside. Someone Marcus destroyed, someone he thinks is broken and powerless. Someone he'll never see coming. Adrian's smile was sharp as a blade. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. I'm going to transform you into someone new, someone powerful. And together, we're going to destroy Marcus Webb the same way he destroyed us. Elena looked at the contract, at the promise of revenge, at this dangerous stranger who offered her a chance to stop being a victim. What do you get out of this? Justice. Closure. The satisfaction of watching a predator finally face consequences. And if I say yes? Then your old life is over. Elena Martinez, the broken gallery owner, disappears. You become someone new. Someone Marcus won't recognize until it's too late. It was insane. Dangerous. Possibly illegal. But as Elena sat in that warm car, looking at a man who understood her pain because he'd lived through his own version of it, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. And anger. And the burning desire to make Marcus Webb regret the day he ever met her. When do we start? She asked. Adrian's smile was predatory and approving. Right now. Part 2, the game begins. New identity, new life. 6 months later, Elena stood in front of a full-length mirror in a penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park, barely recognizing herself. Gone was the broken woman who'd worked double shifts at a diner. In her place stood someone polished, powerful, and dangerous. Her dark hair, once long and simple, now fell in sleek waves to her shoulders with subtle highlights that caught the light. A personal trainer had sculpted her body. A stylist had rebuilt her wardrobe with designer pieces that screamed wealth and confidence. But the biggest change wasn't external. It was in her eyes. They held a hardness now, a determination that hadn't existed before. Elena Martinez was gone. In her place was Elise Moreau, international art consultant and advisor to Stone Enterprises. Adrian appeared in the reflection behind her, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit. Over the past 6 months, he'd been constant presence in her transformation, part mentor, part partner, always maintaining a professional distance that somehow made him more intriguing. Ready for tonight? He asked. Tonight was the Hastings Charity Gala, where New York's elite gathered to pretend they cared about the arts while really networking and making deals. Marcus would be there. He always was, hunting for his next victim. I'm ready. Remember the plan. You're Elise Moreau, recently relocated from Paris. You've made a fortune in the European art market. You're sophisticated, untouchable, and looking to break into the American scene. And Marcus? Will be drawn to you like a moth to flame. Rich, beautiful, alone, you're exactly his type. Let him come to you. Don't push. Just be interesting enough to hook him, then pull back. Elise now, turned to face Adrian directly. And you're sure he won't recognize me? Look at yourself. You're completely transformed. Besides, Marcus sees what he wants to see. He expects Elena Martinez to be destroyed, working some dead-end job, irrelevant. He'd never imagine you here, in this world, looking like this. Adrian stepped closer, his hand lifting to adjust the diamond necklace at her throat. His fingers barely grazed her skin, but the touch sent electricity through her. Over the months, something had shifted between them. What started as a business arrangement had become something else, something neither of them acknowledged. You look beautiful, he said quietly. And terrifying. It's the perfect combination. The alliance forms. The Hastings Gallery glittered with champagne and diamonds. Elise moved through the crowd with practiced grace, accepting compliments on her dress, discussing impressionist techniques with a collector, laughing at a donor's terrible joke. She felt Adrian's presence across the room, always watching, always there if she needed him. And then she saw Marcus. He looked the same. Handsome, charming, working the room with that easy confidence of someone who'd never faced real consequences. A blonde woman clung to his arm, not Claire, someone new. Elena felt rage bubble up but pushed it down, schooling her features into polite interest. She turned away deliberately, examining a painting. Make him come to you. It took less than 5 minutes. Extraordinary piece, isn't it? Marcus's voice came from beside her, smooth as poisoned honey. Elise barely glanced at him. Derivative. The artist is copying Monet without understanding what made Monet revolutionary. It's pretty, but empty. Harsh assessment. She could feel him studying her, interest sparking. You know art. I should. It's my business. She turned, meeting his eyes with cool indifference. Elise Moreau. And you are? Marcus Webb. I work in acquisitions and consulting. How nice for you. She started to move away. Wait. His hand touched her elbow, and it took everything in Elise not to recoil. I don't think we've met before. I know most of the serious collectors in New York. I've just relocated from Paris. Still learning the landscape here. Then you need a guide. Someone who knows the scene, the players, who's legitimate and who's selling fakes. Elise raised an eyebrow. And you're offering your services? I'm offering my expertise. Maybe dinner? Tomorrow night? She pretended to consider, letting him sweat. I'm very busy establishing my business here. Just dinner. I promise I'm excellent company. Finally, she smiled, cool and mysterious. Perhaps. Give me your card. If my schedule allows, I'll call you. She walked away before he could respond, feeling his eyes follow her across the room. When she glanced back, he was still watching, and she knew the hook was set. Adrian materialized beside her near the exit. Perfect execution. It felt good. Seeing him chase me instead of the other way around. The real work starts now. Are you sure you can handle getting close to him again? Elise thought about the months of poverty and shame, about Claire's smug smile, about Adrian's sister who died because Marcus had destroyed her. I can handle it. Playing the long game. Elise made Marcus wait 4 days before returning his call. When she finally agreed to dinner, she chose the restaurant, expensive, public, controlled. She arrived 15 minutes late, looking stunning in a black dress that cost more than her old car. Marcus stood as she approached, and she saw the calculation in his eyes. He was already trying to figure out her net worth, her vulnerabilities, her potential. You're worth waiting for, he said, pulling out her chair. Most good things are. Dinner was a careful dance. Marcus asked probing questions disguised as small talk. Elise answered with truths mixed with carefully constructed lies. Yes, she'd made her fortune in the European art market. No, she wasn't married, too busy building her empire. Yes, she was looking for opportunities in America. No, she didn't have family here, they'd all passed away. With every answer, she watched Marcus's interest sharpen. Rich, alone, lonely, ambitious, she was painting herself as his perfect victim. I have to admit, Marcus said over dessert, I'm surprised you're single. Beautiful, successful, sophisticated, men must be falling at your feet. Men fall. I step over them. I don't have time for relationships that don't serve my goals. Something flickered in his expression, challenge, intrigue. She'd made herself difficult, which only made her more appealing to someone like him. That's admirably focused. Perhaps we're alike in that way. Business before pleasure. Always. But then she softened slightly, letting a hint of vulnerability show. Although I admit, it can be lonely sometimes. Building an empire is exhilarating, but doing it alone, in a new city. She trailed off, looking away as if embarrassed by the admission. You're not alone, Marcus said, reaching across the table to cover her hand with his. Not anymore. Elise let the touch linger for 3 seconds before gently pulling back. That's kind of you to say. But I barely know you. Then let's change that. Let me show you New York. Introduce you to people who matter. Help you build your business here. Why would you do that? His smile was warm, genuine seeming, and completely false. Because I see potential. In you, in us working together. I have connections in the art world that could be valuable to you. This was it, the beginning of his con. He'd offer help, make himself indispensable, gain her trust, then slowly start extracting money and information. I don't need help, Elise said carefully. But I'm always open to mutually beneficial partnerships. If you can prove your connections are as valuable as you claim. Challenge accepted. Marcus signaled for the check. Let me take you to the Morrison Gallery opening this Friday. I'll introduce you to Sterling Morrison. He's notoriously difficult to reach, but he owes me favors. Elise knew Sterling Morrison was one of the most influential gallery owners in New York. Getting an introduction would be valuable for her fake identity. All right. Friday. As Marcus walked her to her car, he leaned in close. I have to say, Elise, you're the most intriguing woman I've met in years. Good. She smiled, sharp and knowing. Boring people are such a waste of time. Dangerous attraction. Back at the penthouse, Adrian waited in the living room, nursing a scotch and scrolling through his tablet. He looked up as Elise entered, his eyes traveling over her in a way that made her pulse quicken. How did it go? He's hooked. Moving fast, just like you predicted. Already offering connections and help. She kicked off her heels, groaning with relief. God, I forgot how exhausting he is. Every word is calculated, every gesture designed to manipulate. But you held up? Perfectly. She poured herself a wine, collapsing onto the couch beside him. Over the months, their relationship had evolved into something comfortable and undefined. They spent most evenings like this, reviewing progress, planning next steps, occasionally just talking about nothing important. He's taking me to the Morrison opening Friday. Adrian's jaw tightened. That's faster than I expected. He must really see potential in you. Or he's getting desperate. Have your people found out what he's been up to lately? Some. He's been relatively quiet since destroying your gallery. A few small cons, nothing major. Your sister Claire is still with him, though the relationship seems strained. At the mention of Claire, Elise's stomach twisted. Any sign of remorse from her? None. If anything, she seems to be learning from him. Running her own small scams on the side. Perfect. They deserve each other. Adrian studied her face. You know, it's not too late to walk away from this. I could handle Marcus another way. You don't have to get close to him again. Yes, I do. This isn't just about revenge anymore, Adrian. It's about proving to myself that I'm not that broken girl anymore. That I can face the person who destroyed me and not fall apart. You were never weak, Elena. He'd started using her real name when they were alone, and every time he said it, it felt intimate. You were trusting. There's a difference. Trusting is just another word for naive in my world. Not in mine. Adrian set down his glass, turning to face her fully. In my world, trusting means brave. It means you believed in goodness despite evidence to the contrary. That's not weakness. That's strength Marcus couldn't break, no matter how hard he tried. The air between them shifted, charged with something electric. They were sitting close enough that Elise could see the amber flecks in Adrian's dark eyes, could feel the warmth radiating from his body. Adrian. She started, not sure what she wanted to say. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and brushed a strand of hair from her face. His fingers lingered on her cheek. I know this is complicated. I know we have a job to do. But Elena, I need you to know. His phone buzzed, shattering the moment. Adrian pulled back, checking the screen, and his expression darkened. It's my investigator. Marcus is on the move. Just like that, they were back in business mode. But as Adrian walked to his study to take the call, Elise touched her cheek where his fingers had been, and wondered what he'd been about to say. The first move. The Morrison Gallery opening was exactly the kind of event Elena used to dream about attending. Now, as Elise Moreau on Marcus's arm, she moved through it with calculated purpose. True to his word, Marcus introduced her to Sterling Morrison, who was indeed impressed by her knowledge of contemporary French artists. He invited her to submit a proposal for curating a European collection, which would give her legitimate standing in New York's art world. See? Marcus whispered as they moved away. I told you I could open doors. You did. Thank you. She touched his arm, letting gratitude show. Let him think he was winning. Throughout the evening, Marcus introduced her to his network: collectors, dealers, auction house representatives. Elise filed away every name, every connection, knowing Adrian's team was building a comprehensive map of Marcus's operation. But the real revelation came when Elise excused herself to the restroom and overheard a conversation between two dealers near the courtyard. "Webb's getting sloppy," one said. "That Kowalski deal last month was amateur hour. If the buyer had done proper due diligence, Marcus would be in prison right now. He's overconfident. Thinks he's untouchable because he's gotten away with it for so long. Won't last. Someone's going to catch him eventually." Elise memorized every word, then composed herself and returned to the gallery. Marcus was charming, an elderly collector, his smile bright and his lies smooth. Her phone buzzed with a text from Adrian: "Car's outside. We need to talk." She made her excuses to Marcus, claiming a headache. He looked disappointed but walked her out, extracting a promise for dinner next week. In Adrian's car, Elise recounted what she'd heard. Adrian's expression grew grim. "The Kowalski deal. I heard about that, supposed authentication documents for a Kandinsky that turned out to be a forgery. The buyer backed out at the last minute. So Marcus is getting desperate? Or careless? Either way, it's an opportunity." Adrian pulled out his tablet, showing her a file. "I've been tracking Marcus's accounts. He's leveraged, badly. He needs a big score soon or his whole operation collapses. Which means he's going to push hard with you. Faster than normal. We need to be ready." Elise studied the financial documents, seeing Marcus's desperation laid out in numbers. "Good. The faster he moves, the faster we can end this. Elena." Adrian's hand covered hers. "Be careful. Desperate men make dangerous mistakes." "I know. But so do women with nothing left to lose. Complications arise." 3 weeks into her renewed relationship with Marcus, Elise's carefully controlled plan hit an unexpected snag. She was having lunch with one of Sterling Morrison's associates when her phone rang with an unknown number. She normally wouldn't answer, but something made her step away and take the call. "Hello? Elena? It's Claire." The sound of her sister's voice after 6 months of silence made Elise's blood run cold. "How did you get this number?" I need help. Please don't hang up. Give me one reason why I shouldn't." "Because I'm pregnant. Because I'm scared. Because Marcus is..." Claire's voice broke into sobs. "Please, Elena. I know I don't deserve it, but I don't have anyone else." Elise's mind raced. This could be a trap, a manipulation. Or it could be genuine. "What do you want from me?" "Just to talk. I need to tell you the truth about everything. About Marcus, about what really happened. Please. There's a cafe on 52nd Street, Bella's. Can you meet me there tomorrow? Noon?" Every instinct screamed danger. But underneath the rage and betrayal, some small part of Elise still remembered loving her sister. Still remembered the girl who'd braided her hair and shared secrets. "I'll think about it," she said, and hung up. That evening, she told Adrian about the call. His reaction was immediate and negative. "It's a trap. It has to be. Maybe." Or maybe Claire realized what kind of man Marcus really is. "You can't seriously be considering meeting her." "I have to know, Adrian. I have to know if there's any part of my sister left, or if Marcus destroyed her too." Adrian stood, pacing the living room with barely contained frustration. "This is exactly what we can't afford right now. Emotional complications. Your past bleeding into the present. My past is the present. This whole plan is about my past, about what they did to me. About getting justice, not about reconciling with the woman who betrayed you." They stared at each other, both breathing hard, the tension between them crackling. "I'm going," Elise said quietly. You can't stop me. No. But I can come with you. Hidden, at another table. If it's a trap, I'll be there. It was a compromise, and they both knew it. But it was also an acknowledgement of something deeper. Adrian cared about her safety in a way that transcended their business arrangement. Fine, Elise agreed. Tomorrow at noon. That night, she lay awake wondering which sister she'd meet tomorrow, the Claire she'd loved, or the stranger who'd smiled while destroying her life. Part 3, Love and Vengeance. The truth unfolds. Bella's cafe was crowded at noon, filled with the lunch rush of office workers and tourists. Elise sat in a corner booth, her back to the wall, watching the entrance. 2 tables away, Adrian pretended to read a newspaper, his attention actually fixed on her. Claire arrived 10 minutes late, and Elise barely recognized her. Her sister looked terrible. The glamorous woman who'd stolen Marcus had vanished. This Claire had dark circles under her eyes, wore cheap clothes, and moved with the hunched posture of someone carrying too much weight. But it was the bruise on her jaw, poorly covered with makeup, that made Elise's breath catch. Claire slid into the booth, not meeting Elise's eyes. "Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would." "I'm not sure why I did." Elise kept her voice cold, defensive. "You have 15 minutes. I know you hate me. I hate myself." Claire's hands shook as she wrapped them around a coffee cup. "Everything that happened, everything I did, there's no excuse. But I need you to understand, I need you to know the truth before it's too late." "Too late for what?" "For you." Claire finally looked up, and her eyes were desperate. "Marcus knows about Elise Moreau. He knows it's you." The words hit like a physical blow. "That's impossible. He's been playing you the whole time, Elena. From the first night at the gala. He recognized you immediately, the way you tilt your head when you're thinking, the way you gesture with your hands. He's been stringing you along, trying to figure out what you're planning." Elise felt the room tilt. "You're lying." "I wish I was. But Marcus, he doesn't just con people out of money. He studies them, learns them, breaks them for fun. When he saw you that night, he was thrilled. Said you were coming back for revenge and he was going to destroy you all over again, but slower this time. Why should I believe anything you say?" Claire reached into her bag with shaking hands, pulling out a folder. "Because I have proof. These are copies of documents from Marcus's files. Plans, notes about you, about Elise Moreau. He's been building a trap the whole time." Elise took the folder, her heart pounding. Inside were printed emails, handwritten notes, photographs, including one of her leaving Adrian's building 3 nights ago. "He knows about Adrian Stone too," Claire whispered. "Knows Adrian's sister Isabel killed herself because of what Marcus did. He thinks it's hilarious that you 2 teamed up, thinks it's going to be even more fun destroying you both." The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too hot. Elise looked at Adrian, who was already on his feet, moving toward them. He'd clearly sensed something was wrong. "Why are you telling me this?" Elise demanded. "Why betray him now?" "Because I'm pregnant. Because yesterday, when I told Marcus, he laughed and said the baby was a problem easily solved. He pushed me down the stairs, Elena. I lost the baby this morning." Tears streamed down Claire's face. "I finally saw what you must have seen, what Isabel Stone must have seen. He's not human. He's a monster. And he's planning something terrible for you and Adrian." Adrian reached the table, his eyes scanning the documents Elise held. His face went white. "When?" he asked Claire. "When is he planning to make his move?" "Tonight. There's a private auction at the Hastings Gallery. He's invited Elise, said it's an opportunity for a major acquisition. But it's a setup. He's going to humiliate you both publicly, destroy your reputations, and frame you for art fraud. He has police contacts, bought judges. By tomorrow morning, you'll both be arrested."